Hello, Mark B, and I know it's been way longer than I said. Apologies, let's get into this. Before I start this review, I wanted to draw your attention to Facebook. If any of you out there are friends with George Takei from the Star Trek series and all that, you know, he has a page where he posts things, and he had a Biggest Nerd contest. And I just wanted to make anyone who is aware of that and isn't aware of the connection, that the picture of the big fat nerds playing D&D, that's my people, and I was the one holding the camera. So if you've seen that, that's us. So anyway, I thought I'd share that. Moving on, I wanted to talk about my favorite D&D setting from 3rd or 3.5. Or really from 4th, but as y'all know, I hate 4th, so I'm not counting that. Now, I complained about WoW, or I complained about 4th edition being too much like WoW, yet my favorite setting is World of Warcraft, the role-playing game, because it plays like D&D, not like an MMO. It has the story, the backdrop, the races, the classes, the nations, the conflict between Horde and Alliance that Warcraft has, but it doesn't have, they don't take, you know, tanking and all the other things and just throw it directly onto the tabletop. They have the rules play out like D&D, which I love. And you can see, originally $40 retail, and it's very much worth it. The pages are just gorgeous, glossy, just a brilliant thick book that you almost don't even need an actual D&D player's handbook for. Almost all the rules are covered in it. In fact, I don't think you probably would need a player's handbook, though there's stuff from the DM guide that you would probably still need. Anyway, it's a must get. It has all the races that you would come to expect from that setting. Most of which are mirrored in traditional fantasy, dwarves, elves, pretty much everything except halflings, though some of the races are slightly altered in the setting. Then you've got the horde races, orcs and trolls and undead, and goblins, which aren't a horde race, but anyway, they're in there. I guess they're a horde race now. Moving on. I quit playing WoW right before the first expansion, so I'm a little behind on the actual MMO itself. Anyway, all the classes that you could want from regular D&D are in there. Plus, they've been in many ways altered to more fit the setting. Rogues gain some new abilities. Wizards are at D6 hit points, and their spells are far more damaging. There's a optional rule for arcane corruption you can throw in. Some of the problem classes, Tinker, which is basically the engineer skill turned into a class, is way too clunky. But if you can deal with it, I mean, it's really cool. You can invent, you know, all kinds of magical contraptions. And Necromancer, which is great that you can summon up undead, but they don't give you stats on the undead. They're like, just slap an undead template on whatever creature he's raising. So every time the Necromancer would stop and create something, you have to pause the game. So it's too much prep work to do right, so I just don't even like to allow Necromancers. But anyway, so you get the great story, you get all those classes that are available. There's a class called Scout, which is a new one too. And frankly, it's the most useless class ever written on paper, in my opinion. But you know, that's not a bad thing. And they have Hunter, so I don't really see where Scout becomes necessary. It's like you're a hunter with none of the cool stuff. I don't know. But Hunter's in there, like I said. And when you buy the supplement books, if you do, you get tons more races. Monster races, you know, you get Naga, Murloc, Half-Ogre, Dragon Whelp. The list is lengthy. So if your DM allows it, and you're a fan of something particular in WoW, it's probably in there. Now, originally this game was just the Warcraft RPG, and then the MMO got popular and they changed it into the World of Warcraft RPG and released new books, which is what this is. Now, supplement wise, I have everything except the original Warcraft rule books and the Warcraft book known as the Horde and Alliance Player's Guide. But you don't need those, because you've got this rule book And as you'll see, those guides have been covered. So let's see what I got. Here's original Warcraft, Shadows and Light. Now that is all the prominent NPCs such as Thrall, Jaina Proudmoore, statted out, but they are statted out in the old style, which would be, you know, wizards would have D4 hit points and, you know, all the other things like that. And she wouldn't have access to all the brilliant flashy mage spells they have now, like 8th level spell Pyroblast, which can do 17d8 plus 114 fire damage if you hold it for 3 rounds. And then Magic and Mayhem, which is more spells and magic items. And Lands of Conflict, which covers half of the world in detail. And the Monster Guide. Then we get into the World of Warcraft books. We've got the Alliance Player's Guide. Lands of Mystery, which covers the other half of the world. The most essential one, More Magic and Mayhem, which has treasure tables. So it's kind of like your DM guide. It's got rules for enchanting, like in the MMO, where you can disenchant magic items you get, or pay for enchants, and put enchants on magic items you already have. So you can get the Crusader enchantment on your +4 sword, or what have you. And it's really nice. They've got the class in there where you can do it yourself. Horde Player's Guide. Oh, More Magic and Mayhem also has rules for alchemy. So it's like the skill in the game. So even without magic, your character can learn how to brew potions that are different than magical potions. They're alchemical mixtures, which do basically the same thing, but it's all the potions from the game that you would see. Dark Factions, which is the last book they put out, which covers anything that's not Horde or Alliance, basically. Scarlet Crusade, Thorium Brotherhood, and the list goes on. And then the Monster Guide, which is a very nice pickup, because not only does it have the stats on Blood Elves, but it also has changed up rules for Warlocks and their demonic companions that make it a lot better than what the actual rulebook lists. So anyway, strongly recommend the game. Don't know what it would cost online now, but you should check it out. And again, like the Monster book, full color, glossy. A lot of the supplements, though, you know, you're going to just get the standard black and white print, but they're great. They're very well done books. Like I said, I think mages have much more punch than I consider them normally to have. Some people disagree with me anyway and say that wizards are already top dog, but I think they feel very adequate in this, very, very powerful in this edition. I like the way it all blends together, and I don't know, I just couldn't recommend it enough. You should definitely give it a try if you haven't already, and I'll answer any questions in the comments that I may not have addressed here, but check it out. And if you've got Facebook, as most people do, you know, check us out. Check out my group's picture on George Takei's biggest nerd contest, if he still got that up there. He might have taken it down. Can't believe the amount of hate we got, though, in the comments. It's like you think being fat was like the end of the world. People just went crazy with it. But anyway, so Mark B here, and I'll try to get back quicker next time. And check out WoW. I think you'll be happy with it. And 4th edition still sucks. Signing off.